Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Wade, Partnership Manager here at Bitwave. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Libby at Cipher Counts. Libby, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful, excellent. Well, yeah, first things first, I was wondering if you could provide more of an introduction about your services, your businesses, and also details in terms of how you got into the Web3 space.
Awesome. So actually, I've been coding my first script when I was 12 years old, and I've always been interested in technology. And then in my professional journey, somewhere along the line, I got a CPA license as well. When cryptocurrency came out in 2009, I was super fascinated by it. It's like, I remember someone just sent me Bitcoin link and I looked it up and I didn't really think much of it, except that it looked very cool. But then I was following it, and since 2010, I've been like super addicted to it and started investing way back and participating, playing around with Dogecoin and all those kind of historical moments. But I kept working in finance. I went back to CMU and got my degree in data science and was intending to go into AI of all things. But then crypto was taking off, and a friend at the EF was like, "Hey, this is actually where you want to be." And I hadn't even finished grad school yet. And I was like, maybe it is. And so I just kind of met up with a company and they became my first client, and I accidentally made a business from there because it was a ton of work. Had to figure out, there were no guidelines about how to do accounting at that time, but I did have a very solid background in cost accounting, microtransactions, and all of that. And so I realized I couldn't do it alone, and I built a company. And very quickly after that, it snowballed into a full-fledged organization, and we've been delighted that we've been able to help develop the space. I feel like crypto made the finance fun again for me because I'd learned so much at that point. It was starting to get a little boring, and I really was planning to leave for tech. But there's so much that needs to be done, and it's like a new spin, so many experiments that are going on in this space. We're just so excited. And what we help do is we basically help end to end find people solutions, whether it be directly us doing it or within our network. Our goal is to build out this space and bring the future of tomorrow.
Incredible. I love it. And from my understanding, you've helped really build Bitwave up in terms of what it is today. Would you be able to share some insights in terms of how you started working from a partnership perspective with Bitwave? From my understanding, you and Pat and Amy have a little bit of history together.
Yeah, so that was actually a great thing to find them because I had already experienced the death of two previous accounting systems that we had tried to build over the past few years before Bitwave came into being. And then we went on to a third one. And they, for, anonymous purposes, we're not going to mention who they were, but they had serious reconciliation problems. They really didn't understand how the numbers were off, and we're talking off by 10%. It's not something that any self-respecting accountant can accept. And so then my business partner and I were like, you know what? Let's just test all of them. So we went and interviewed many, many companies, as many as we could find, just scourging the internet, asking people to tweet on crypto Twitter to find us anyone we could speak to. And we just deeply tested all the systems. And at that time, and I still believe today, that Bitwave came out as the most accurate, precise, modular platform. Um, and so, we just basically decided to take a little dip our toe in the water and say, hey, we have this client. They do everything. They do DeFi. It was a very hard client for Bitwave to start with. And it was super early on for them. And so we worked side by side for years, building up all of that. It was such a wonderful experience. We were on the phone with them pretty much like every week, sometimes every day when we had some deadlines, and they really helped us land our solutions. And from there, we were like, well, we have this company and we have all these clients. And so we were able to start moving people onto Bitwave, and it's been, they've helped bring people who were looking for accounting solutions to us. And it's just been this beautiful relationship. And we moved into education as well, in addition to that. So we've just been doing several different levels of support with Bitwave, and we just really like them.
Right. Thank you. Well, we definitely appreciate our partnership as well. we work closely together with you and Tom over at Cipher Counts to mutually help our clients, close out their books. There's a service and the technology component associated with that. But nonetheless, I like how you mentioned that you're working with our team and your resources to provide educational resources. I was wondering if you can share some additional details in that regard, your passion for helping businesses and accountants really understand those fundamentals, as well as the complexities associated with crypto accounting.
Sure, absolutely. So we really had this wonderful um, breadth of knowledge that we were keeping internally for ourselves, that we basically take extensive notes as we work, and we collaborate with lawyers and other accountants and tax teams from all over the world. So we're just always building up this really robust repository as we learn. And it's always been a deeply collaborative effort because we're talking about interdisciplinary things, working with devs for next generation technology, researching where we're going. And so, basically, Pat had mentioned something about going down an educational path, and I'm like, we don't really have to do that much to produce some content. So we decided, it's not too big of a lift. And at that time, there was a company called Multisig Media that was building out an accounting for crypto platform. And so I met with Trevor, who was the CEO of that platform, and I just started making content with him. And we were prepping for ETH Denver, and we're like, you know what? My whole team has been really, really great, and I just want to credit them for helping make this possible. But they all showed up, and we all kind of turned into a production studio for about a month and just filmed a bunch of content, and did a ton of research, cross examined everything, and looked, and it was a very collaborative experience. So, going through that, and then it turned out like a few months later, Bitwave acquired Multisig Media. And we're like, well, hey, it's like our friends with our friends. And so we were very happy that this happened, and we have continued to make content with them for Bitwave University.
Right. Wonderful. And I think it kind of addresses some of the challenges associated with where we're at in the industry. There's so many accounting firms out there, but not everyone knows how to actually account for digital assets. So certainly I understand the value that you're providing to our ecosystem. And there's already a shortage of accountants out there, and probably even more of a shortage of accountants that know how to actually account for digital assets. So, education is certainly essential. And, if the goal is mass adoption, we have to demonstrate success. We have to have those resources, those case studies to share how businesses can maintain compliance.
I also believe we need to work on standardization as well. And that's one of the reasons we felt compelled to put educational content out there. Because basically, crypto is the Wild West for quite a while, where people made up their own protocols and experimented. But if we converge on some of the ways we create data and present data, it's going to save everyone, founders, everyone. Like, if it'll create a playbook and everything will converge to standards, this will actually be huge for mainstream adoption. And it'll be something that becomes much safer for people to step into without getting so overwhelmed. And it'll also allow for the industry itself to basically take positions that allow it to have influence on its own legislative development.
Excellent. Well said. Well said. Well, 2024 is certainly a positive outlook. A lot of our team members, a lot of our partners and clients, we're all super excited about what's happening so far. Finally, from my understanding, we have some FASB guidance. We got the ETF approved. If you look at the markets, things are pumping right now. A lot of projects that were perhaps on hold last year are finally saying, hey, it's time to deploy. What are your thoughts? Would love to hear your thoughts about what's in store for the year ahead. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a premise that, a lot of people think of uh 2023 or 20 as kind of like the bear market. I actually thought the bottom was in 2022, because if you look, not only do you look at the historically at the charts, but also like when we had those catastrophic pivots with FTX and Terra Luna and everything, If you just look, you can see that's the lowest the price went, but also it's the worst the sentiment was when regulators were just like coming in with this giant hammer. And I feel like 2023 was the unwinding of that. But the reason that the crypto market was kind of still in a bear sentiment is you also have the Federal Reserve raising interest rates at an unprecedented speed. So there's like macro stuff at play here. And we do actually pay attention a lot to what they do because those lessons tie in heavily with tokenomics. But for me, I have seen that like people have been quietly building and enjoying this kind of lull or pause during this time because in 2020 and 2021, everyone's talking about crypto. It's the signal to noise ratio is so hard. And I think, you look at it, ETH is basically tripled in price since the bottom and Bitcoin even more, we're actually solidly in the middle of like a bull market if you look at it that way. It doesn't feel that way because it's just slowly getting going. But I think a lot of people are also rightly so a little bit traumatized by some of the sudden shifts in sentiment and how fast that happened. So I'm hoping that we're building for a wiser, more robust system this time around. We've been having people come to us every single week with exciting new projects, and that's great. It seems like the tempo started picking up end of last year. And so and then people whose assets have grown because a lot of the companies are invested in crypto as we go are looking on the horizon of, well, what am I going to do in the future as this comes around? And we are also trying to become more present out there as well. In fact, we're on the verge of launching a YouTube channel as well ourselves to prepare to go even broader with education. So we're looking outward to take the knowledge we had through the last couple cycles and to share that with people so that everyone can be wiser and in stronger positions.
All right, great, excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the launch of the new YouTube channel. Certainly appreciate our partnership again. Libby, anything else that you'd like to share at this time?
Sure, yeah. I'm also would love to share that I actually, in the parallel to this, just finished a book that will be dropping later this year. It's more of a fun thing. It's a sci-fi story of crypto and gaming. So it's kind of like if you have something where you want to have a more playful adventure, it's a bit of a cautionary exploration of what I think about crypto. So yeah, you can look forward to that later this year. And it's my website is for our businesses can be found at ciphercounts.io. And my personal website is lib.life, lib.life, where you can find information about my book.
All right, great, excellent. Can't wait to read the book.
Thank you.
I've seen this trend of GameFi and Web3, and it seems like definitely these metaverse gaming companies are becoming almost the new social media. With I think it's Twitch and Roblox and a lot of development in the space too.
I came from the gaming industry, actually, both you could say as a competitor and also as like working in industry. So I see a ton of parallels culturally between crypto and the gaming industry, very much so. And a lot of my colleagues are hardcore gamers.
Nice, awesome. Well, Libby, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Appreciate you, and yeah, looking forward to the year ahead.
Awesome. Me too.